Hello, everyone. I think as part of today's session, lesson 9, we'll be discussing about an intermediate application, which is Kaya Mini Explorer. So we'll try to explore, I think let's look at the agenda. So first of all, we'll look at what is Kaya SDK. So maybe we'll understand what kind of libraries are available in Kaya SDK. And then maybe we'll quickly go through some of the examples in that. And after that, we'll actually look into the Kaiascan Explorer and we'll see what kind of features they are offering. And then we'll also see what are the APIs they are giving us. And after that, we'll quickly jump into the demo for the Mini Explorer. So I built a simple application with the help of the APIs which Kaiascan have provided. So I've built like showing the account details, like a simple Mini Explorer, and then I'll also give you a code walkthrough for that, and we'll also discuss like what kind of use cases you could build with this APIs and then with Kaya SDK as well. Yeah, so let's jump in. So first of all, what is Kaya SDK? So Kaya SDK is has some set of case like some extensions of the current libraries. So previously there used to be a library called Kver.js, but later on it's like we have deprecated it and came up with this Kaya SDK, where people who are already used to Web3.js and Ethers.js, these kind of libraries, then they could directly extend that and make use of the Kaya features. So under this Kaya SDK, we have some set of libraries like Web3.js extension, Web3.j for Java, and Web3 Python for, if you want to integrate into Python applications, Ethers.js. This is also Ethers extension, which is for Java script framework. And even VM, recently we added VM extension. This is also a JavaScript library. So with any of these libraries, you could make use of the Kaya related features. So especially in Kaya, we have some of the features like fee delegation, which Web3.js doesn't provide you. And even when you want to have a multi-sig, which is a core, which is already present in the core protocol of Kaya. If you want to use multi-sig or role-based kind of role-based features where you can assign different roles for the different private keys, and even if you want to update your private key, and if you also want to do a fee delegation type of transactions. So these type of Kaya specific transactions you could be able to do with only these SDKs. And we also supported this with the Chrome extension wallets like Kaya wallet. It's already like whenever you integrate from these libraries from the front end, you'll be able to make a fee delegation type of transactions as well through the Kaya wallet. And also like even BitGet started supporting it, and even OKX wallet also started supporting the Kaya features right now. So we'll actually go into the demo. I think if you want to find the Kaya SD related libraries, if you want to look at the source code, you can directly go into the GitHub repository and search for SDK. I think you can find the Kaya SDK here. So as I mentioned, you can find different set of libraries, and all of these are like published into the NPM if it's a JavaScript libraries, and into the Maven if it's Java. So all these libraries are already published and you can directly import them into your projects. So Ethers.js and VM extension, Web3 Java extensions. So like I mentioned, there are a couple of SDKs which you could use as different alternatives for communicating with the Kaya blockchain. So maybe like, instead of I think when you jump into it, like you can explore the functions in that. But there are a couple of examples which I wanted to show you, and you can jump also like look into the code for when you are actually doing the application. So currently I pull this Kaya SDK into my local, and there are like some of the examples where you can directly integrate into a HTML. So there's an example for browser HTML. Maybe I'll just pin this up. So I'm using a local a live server in the VS Code or maybe in the cursor. So if you just install that live server, you can directly run this application into a live server. So you can go into any of this SDKs which I mentioned, maybe Ethers extension. Let's say we want to explore Ethers extension, you can go into the examples. Maybe Ethers v5, can go there and go into the browser's HTML. So here there's an example for some of the functions which are mostly used in the applications. So maybe like if you want to connect with Kaikas, or I mean currently it's Kaya wallet. So if you want to connect with Kaya wallet, then as it's already connected, like it's not popping up anything, but as you can see here, the address over here, the account over here. And then currently we are on Kairos. So it's a hex value of the Kairos chain ID. So we have connected to Kaikas or Kaya wallet right now. And then you can perform some set of transactions. Like let's say if you want to do a value transfer. So when you click this, I think you should be able to see this value transfers. So see that we are also paying the fee for this particular transaction. We are doing a self transaction. So even the two addresses the same as me. And then when you confirm it, you can do a transaction. So you can perform a value transfer for this. And when you have to look these details, you can go into any of the explorers like Kaiascope or Kaiascan, and you can look into these details like from address to address, and then the value. So as part of this, I haven't sent anything, it's just 0. So this is the transaction that we have made. So now, like if you want to explore other functions, there are other functions like smart contract executions. If you want to interact with the smart contract, then you can actually explore this function. And then as you can see, this is a smart contract address, and then it's trying to communicate with this. Yeah. So I think similarly, if you want to do a fee delegation, like I was saying, I think fee delegation is only supported from few wallets if you are doing interacting from the front end, especially like Kaya wallet, OKX, and BitGet. So if you want to perform this fee delegation value transfer, then you kind of first sign the transaction, get the signed transaction from the user, and then the fee delegation can be another person who actually pays the fee behalf of the sender. So here, when we do this, as you can see, the fee estimation is showing 0. So which means the fee is paid by the other user. So maybe we can also explore this. So this is a signed transaction, and this signed transaction is forwarded to a fee payer. So when we look into the details of this, so as you can see, the fee payer is a different address than the sender. So and then all this, the payment that is done is by the fee payer in this scenario. So maybe like we can just look into the code as well. So if you go into the Kaya SDK, so maybe if you are like familiar with Ethers extension, Ethers.js, then you can use Ethers extension, or if you are already familiar with Web3, you can explore that. So here we have V5, maybe you can go into the main.js. So here there are a couple of functions. Like I said, here there's a value transfer function. So where you are kind of preparing the transaction. So this is a transaction data, and you are also giving a transaction type as value transfer. And then there's a function for sending. So this is just a ethers way of actually sending the transaction. So there's a function called send transaction, and then you send the object, the transaction object that you have. So similarly, there's a fee delegation. Yeah. So for the fee delegation, there are two steps. Like I was saying, first it will do a signed transaction by the sender. So first it does a signed transaction, and the signed transaction is sent to a fee payer. So this is like a two-step process. So this fee payer is just the same thing. It's done by another private key, which is another, it could be like another organization or another user. So, and then he is just creating his own wallet object, and then he's initiating this function. So these functions are available in the Ethers extension. So this is not available in the Ethers.js, but you can find these type of functions in the Ethers extension of Kaya SDK. So to make use of this particular feature, you might have to use the Ethers extension. So in this way, like you can actually perform all these functions and you can reuse the same code in any of your applications. So this is what I would like to show for the Kaya SDK. Now moving on, I think, yeah. Moving on, I think we can discuss about the Kaiascan Explorer. So mainly the explorers we call like block explorers. These are mainly helpful for showing the block information. So it will give you the information of each and every block, what's the latest block. And then when you open the block information, it will also show you the total number of transactions and each and every transaction information as well. And you can also search, you can also maybe get your portfolio. Maybe when you paste your address, you can also get the information of what kind of assets that you're holding. So they are like in Kaya ecosystem, there are a couple of explorers like Kaiascan, Kaiascope, and OKX explorers, and there are like few others. Out of that, I would like to today show you Kaiascan related features and what kind of APIs they are providing. So I think let's navigate to the Kaiascan. Yeah, maybe it's here. So when you first open Kaiascan, you can see the networks on the right side. So if you are like doing any transactions on the testnet, you switch there and you can search your transaction related information. And the main page, as you can see, you can find the latest block height. So in Kaya, it creates a block for every 1 second. So the average block time is 1 second. For every 1 second, it created. And you can also see like how many constant nodes are present in Kaya. So currently they are like 41. So one of these constant validators or this validators, and then that new block is actually shown here. You can also see all the recent blocks that are created. And this also has information of the number of transactions that the block has right now and who actually proposed the block and the reward that we have distributed for each and every block. So, and you can also see all the related transactions, like recent transactions. And for example, maybe if you want, uh, and there are like a couple of other features like top tokens, top transfers, top NFTs. But apart from that, I think the main useful thing is when you want to just get a snapshot of your account, then you can directly copy paste your address, and then maybe you can directly go into your account and you can see all the details of that particular address. So for example, maybe if I just go Kairos and so Kaya, yeah, yeah. So maybe I'll just switch to Kairos itself. Looks like there's some problem with this Kairos. Yeah, maybe let me explain you on the Kaizen itself. And yeah, Kairos, I think, yeah, we already loaded Kairos here. And if you just copy paste your address here, you can get a snapshot of your address. Yeah, it looks like this Kairos is a little bit slow today. Give me a second. Yeah, give me a second. Maybe I'll just check my internet connection once. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So on Kairos, if I just check the address, yeah, when we load our address details, we can get the balance, the current balance. So whatever we have seen here, I think we can see on the top level over here, and the total number of transactions that is done on this account. And you can also see the information of the ERC20 tokens that you have. In Kaya, we call it like KIP7, the token balances. This is all the ERC20. And then KIP17 is the NFTs. And KIP37 is the 1155 standard. So, and you can also see the information where you have paid the behalf of the user. So these are like different type of transactions or the history that you could see on your account. So these type of information is available in like most of the explorers, and you can also search the information based on the transaction hash as well. Like when you go into the transaction hash, you can look at which block the transaction is added in, and then you can also see the timestamps, the type of the transaction that we have made. So like I was saying, we have different few types of transactions like multi-sig. You can also perform fee delegation, and there are like a couple of roles that you can have. And you can also see how much amount is transferred from one account to another, and then who is the fee payer if there's. And you can also see the input data that people have forwarded. So if it's a smart contract or if it's a value transfer, you can always look at the input data. So this is just a value transfer, so there's no input data. But if you have any smart contract executions, then you can look at the raw data or the input data that people have actually interacted with the smart contracts. So I think now let's go into the APIs. So there are like some couple of APIs which Kaiascan provides you. So for example, if it's related to your account, so any information related to your account, like I was showing in the UI, especially like maybe getting the Nifty transfers or getting the ERC20, ERC721. So these type of token information, if you want to get it for your account, then you can directly go into account folder over here, and you can get the information of NFT in this. There are a couple of APIs here. And if you want to get the ERC20 related information, you can go into this. And if you want to get the list of like a history of the account, and then you can try out this APIs. So in this way, if you want information, you can try out these APIs. If you want a contract information, like if you want the source code of the contract, if it's already verified on Kaya Scan, I think you can get that source code. You can also get the API of it. So they are like the source code you could be able to get. And if you want to get the price, you can get the Kaya price, the current price of the Kaya. This API is helpful, and you can also get the top accounts. And then if you want to get the NFT information, you can just pass the NFT address, and you can get all the inventories of that particular address. So as you can see, you just need to pass the token address, and you can get the all the inventories or all the NFTs of that particular address. So in the same way, you can also get all the transfers. So there are all couple of APIs that Kaiascan provides, and there's also a free tier and paid versions for that. But yeah, I think moving on. So if you want to make use of this, first of all, you need to create an account in Kaiascan. So you just have to register an account, and then you need an API. So you just have to log in into this account, and you can get an API. So you just have to go into the API dashboard, and you can create the API key over here. So you just have to create an API key, and you can make use of this particular API key from your applications. So this what I would like to show on the Kaiascan side. Yeah. Now maybe I'll just give a quick demo on the Kaya Mini Explorer that I built for demoing. So this code is already available in the lesson 9 in the GitHub repository. So you can just go here. So I also mentioned the node version which you have to use. So maybe above 18, I think it should be okay. And then if you want to, you just have to install the packages. This is just a React.js application. And if you just have to install the packages via npm install. And once the packages are installed, you can directly run the command npm run dev. So now it will serve the data on the 3000. So 3000 port, you can directly open in the browser. So this is the data that, so by default, as you can see here, I also tagged each and every data from where I'm getting. So like I was saying, this information of total volume, the market cap and the current price, all this you can get from the home API, as you can see here. You can get the total Kaya price information over here, like total summary. When you expand this, you'll get total consensus nodes, what's the block time and all this information. And in Kaya price, you can also get the information related to total supply, the market cap. So this information I'm getting from the Kaya price API. And the latest block information I'm getting from the Kaya SDK. So I'll just show this code. So this is the API which we are using on the front end side. So first you create an API key. So that API key you might have to configure in the .env.local. So I've just configured that API key. And then when you run this application, I think it should be able to use your API key and then fetch the information. So for the Kaya price, I've used this API like I was mentioning. It's so the network. So if it's a mainnet, it will be like mainnet slash Kaya. If it's a Kairos, it'll be Kairos slash Kaya. So the endpoints would slightly change based on the network name. So for example, as you can see here, this is API slash V1 slash Kaya. This is the endpoint of getting the Kaya price. So I'm using this API for getting the first information on the home page. And then when you switch this to maybe Kairos, it'll fetch the information of the Kairos latest block. So this block should like match with the Kairos name. So for example, like if you just open this. Yeah. So as you can see, like it's mostly matches with the latest block information, like 254, like which is almost near. So this information we are directly getting from the you can call an API, or you can also get this latest block information from the Kaya SDK itself using get block. So get block gives you the block number. I think, yeah. So as you can see, like I directly used a Web3 JS related extension, and we can directly call web3.e.getBlock. So for this particular get block, I've used a Web3 extension itself, but there's also an API for getting the latest block information as well. So in the similar way, I think if we just paste our address, it should give all the address details. Maybe I'll just switch to Kairos, and then I'll just paste the address over here. So this address information, it tells you the account type, which is an EOA account, and it has a balance of 63 Kaya, and the total number of transactions and the account type. So in Kaya, there are different type of accounts, like multi-sig account, role-based account. This is like a legacy account. This is like a normal account. So this information you can directly fetch from the account API. So there's this APIs folder where you can directly look into. Sorry. Yeah, so this API. So this API I've used for getting this information. I think similarly, if you just paste the transaction information, you should be able to get the transaction related information, even the block as well. Maybe like just copy the block, and when you paste the block information, I'm just calling the API of the get block. So it gives all the block information of uh, of this, so which matches with the same. So this is Kairos, and this network we have mainnet. So maybe the blocks might be different. Maybe I'll just pick up a latest block from Kairos. Yeah. As you can see, it has this validators, the number of validators. It has a block proposer address, which is 0x5CE. So all this information you can get from an API itself. So I would like to just show you this. So until now, I've showed you different APIs that you could use for your application. So in this way, you can actually build a simple mini explorer. So I think this is the demo for the mini explorer. Maybe you can just set it up in your local. First, create your account in the Kaiascan, get an API key. And for I mean, all the APIs which I've shown, they have a free credits. There's a default credits, and you can make use of that for your demo applications. And then moving on, I think I just want to talk about how we can use this for various applications. Like mainly features, we have seen that it provides wallet insights, wallet and account insights. You can see all the account information, and you can also track the tokens. So if there is any kind of transfers for ERC20 or NFTs, I think you can track all that information, and you can also know how many holders are present for that particular token. And then all the smart contract information, like you can get the contract ABI. If the contract is already verified on the Kaya scan, you can also get the code of the of the smart contract, and price information as well. You can get the latest block information and the price information of Kaya, or in be it like any token as well. So, and like mostly some of the use cases could be you can build any DeFi dashboards which can provide real-time portfolios, and you can also build like wallet portfolio apps mainly to give a snapshot for the user. And you can also build like NFT viewers, like showing the collections of each user and showing the information or metadata, whatever it's present within the NFT with each and every NFT. And you can also track all the transfers that have been done on the NFTs. Also, like you have access to the transaction information, you can also do some tax tools, like mainly, getting the information for the provided accounts, and then tracking all the transfers which is done on that particular accounts for the companies. So these kind of applications you could build, and maybe I would like to just show one of the applications which is like well-known wallets. So this I took a snapshot of the Kaya wallet mobile. So for example, let's say if you want to build this screen, so here we are showing my personal assets. So this will just show list of the balances that you have. So if you have like if you get a transfer from some other person into your account, and immediately if you want to show the latest information, I think you can directly use this APIs for get account. Whenever you call this information, you get the Kaya related balances. And if you want to get all the fungible token balances, you can directly call this API of the get fungible tokens. With these two APIs, I think you could build this entire screen. Maybe for the send function, you can directly use the Kaya SDK. send value transfer related features. And for building a transaction history, you can directly call the transaction API. So it will track all the transfers of NFTs, be it like any transfers. I mean, it's up to you. You can filter which type of transaction you want to show in the transaction screen, transaction history screen as well. And mostly, in most of the wallets, there's an option for you to go and see your NFT collections. So as soon as you go here, maybe you might have to show all the collections first, collection folders first, and then when a person clicks on the collection, that's when you might have to show all the list of NFTs, like NFT inventories. So this would be a very common use case. So for this, I think you can directly call the API for non-fungible token balances. When you call this, it will give you the contract address and then the quantity which the user holds. So for the user logged in address, you can directly call this API. And then if you want to show the metadata of the particular account, sorry, I think this is wrong, this transaction information. The metadata, API already has the metadata as well. You can directly show there's an URI, token URI. You can directly call that URI and it will give you the image, it will give you the name of the collection, it will give you the individual NFT information as well, like the things which are shown here. So all these traits like start date, end date, this related to one of the NFTs, which you can get from the token URI itself. So these kind of application you could build with the Kaiascan related APIs. I think that's all for today, which I would like to speak about. If you have any questions, I think we can take them up.
Oh wow, you really weren't kidding when you said about 40 minutes. Anyways, yeah. So guys, do you have? I know it's a very short session. Any questions? You can just pop them in chat as I put in the chat earlier. Otherwise, we also do very much prefer it, as I mentioned previously, if you could ask your questions live, because then the follow-up is a lot easier. Like, sometimes the question isn't clear or whatever. So yeah, if you are brave enough, if you have brave soul, we do very much prefer Brain EXE is processing. I mean, it kind of is at this point. And even though it was very short, I think it was still quite heavy. And I must apologize in advance because yesterday's recording still isn't up, because I've been very busy with a bunch of other things. Mainly, we do have, I think I can tease it here, we do have an upcoming hackathon that is not the mini hackathon of this. So look forward to that, I think, sometime next month. I know that we're going to have the mini hackathon after next month as well, but there'll be a bigger hackathon with a bigger prize pool compared to this mini hackathon. So that's what I've been busy with the whole day today. And yeah, so if there are no, yes, Kaya. Yeah, so if there are no, if there are any further questions after this meeting, after this work lesson ends, you can just pop them in the Discord. I think everyone here is already in Discord. So if there's nothing else, is there anything you want? This is actually Praveen's final lesson with us. So tomorrow's lesson will be back to AO. So I'm not sure how your feedback is on Praveen, whether it's good or bad, but I think it was a really nice change of pace from just AO speaking all the time. And I think the previous week you also had Aiden, another DevRel engineer, going through it. And then following tomorrow's class, I will repeat this again tomorrow, but following tomorrow's class, we are actually taking a week break, mostly due to we want to give everyone a bit of time to review all the previous lesson plans and do up all the assignments, as well as it gives us a bit of time to go through all the attendance, because remember there is a 90% attendance rate in order to participate in the hackathon. So if you have any friends or anyone who is still, we do have a couple that are missing, a few, just like one lesson. So if you miss this lesson, if you make it up with the remaining lessons, you should still hit the 90%. So no need to worry about that. So yeah, so I will reiterate this tomorrow. We are taking a week break after tomorrow, also because it is the week of ECC. So a lot of our, the people who are supposed to present are busy presenting at ECC as well. And obviously being at a conference, it's not conducive to give a workshop. So yeah. So I think if there are no other questions, we can just end it here. Praveen, any final words?
No, I think, yeah, I don't have any exercise for this session, but like I said, if you just understand the Kaia SDK and having a couple of API knowledge, what exactly to use in your application, I think you can build production grade applications. Because like we've been using Kaiascan APIs for in like very big applications as well. Yeah, I think.
Yes, exactly. I think a few of our own internal staff uses the API as well. So yeah, if there's nothing else, I think we can end it here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for attending the workshop live. I think it's very much appreciated, even though I think it was a very heavy lesson. Don't worry, the recordings will be up, I think, by tomorrow. I'll try to get them. I'll try to get lesson 8 up by tonight. I will try my best. And then the slides are super easy, honestly. So I will leave it there. I'll see you guys tomorrow with AO, I believe. Yes, AO will be back tomorrow. So those of you who have been missing and hoping for AO to come back, he's coming back tomorrow, so no need to worry. And yeah, so yeah, thank you all for coming to this live session, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Praveen won't be here, but Praveen may be joining chat. I don't know because he's currently very busy. But we'll see if he is free enough to join in chat to just to ask if you have any further questions. Yeah, because especially for Praveen. Otherwise, I think you can also tag him in the Discord, and then he should be able to answer that as well. Yeah. So yep. Thank you all. Thanks for all the thanks. And yeah, I'll catch you all tomorrow. And take care, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.